you feel like you failed. You feel like you're struggling with shame and guilt. And maybe you're going, gosh, I failed too. Like I even denied God one time, or I walked away. I denied what I believe. And I just want to encourage you, Jesus isn't going to leave you in that same broken place. He does not leave you in that place of shame. He wants to bring restoration in your life today.
There is this beautiful technique in the Japanese culture where a broken vase or piece of pottery is assembled back together. And it's called kintsugi. And what happens is all those broken pieces are just put back together with this lacquer that's mixed with a powdered gold. And what happens from that is these beautiful seams appear throughout the piece of pottery. It's just absolutely beautiful. I have a picture to show you. And so it's beautiful. You can see that it's been broken, right? But there's beauty in the brokenness. There's beauty in the brokenness. And Jesus came to restore your broken places, not to hide them, but to turn them into a testimony. Especially for some of you who are facing that, you need to know that those broken places can be restored. Because Jesus did this with everyone he encountered, especially some of his very own disciples.
Yeah, so Peter was one of Jesus' disciples, and Jesus would call Peter to follow after him, and Peter would be one of the catalysts for the beginning of the early church after Jesus' resurrection. And be a powerful witness for the Lord. But when you look at the entirety of Peter's life, he was a little bit of a mess. He had a lot of things going on, and one of the things that we pull out when we talk about the crucifixion and the resurrection this time of Easter, gosh, when Jesus was arrested and being tried, Peter followed Jesus for a period of time, and he went to the place where they were questioning Jesus' validity. And somebody recognized Peter. They're going, hey, wait a second, you're one of his followers. And he denied it. Denied even being a follower of Jesus. Peter had followed Jesus for years. They were really close friends. Peter had witnessed all of the miracles. And 3 different times. I know that you're one of us. No. And completely denied even knowing Jesus. And so Peter recognized what he had done. And the shame, the guilt, and he withdrew. He was struggling with that. So the thing that's amazing is Jesus doesn't leave Peter in his brokenness and his shame. And it's possible for some of you. You feel like you failed. You feel like you're struggling with shame and guilt. And maybe you're going, gosh, I failed too. I even denied God one time, or I walked away. I denied what I believe. And I just want to encourage you, Jesus isn't going to leave you in that same broken place. He does not leave you in that place of shame. He wants to bring restoration in your life today.
Yes, and I want to talk to you about how Jesus does this with Peter. Jesus restores Peter's brokenness, and he does this by recreating the moment where he first called Peter to follow him. And that moment happened at the Sea of Galilee. Peter was a fisherman, so he had been out fishing on a boat all night long, and Jesus is on the shore, and it says, hey, how was the fishing? And he says, we didn't catch anything all night. And Jesus says, put your nets down again. There is a miraculous overabundance of fish. And so after the resurrection, Peter actually went back to fishing. And so he's back on the Sea of Galilee fishing. After the resurrection, Jesus shows up on the shore again. Peter's been fishing all night long and didn't catch anything. And Jesus says again, put those nets down. And there's another miraculous abundance of fish. And so Jesus is recreating this scenario for Peter to show him that you are still not too broken to follow me. And Jesus wants to recreate a moment with some of you today. Because some of you haven't been in church since last Easter. And maybe even you came last Easter and you chose to follow Jesus, but you didn't do anything about it. And so he wants to recreate a moment with you. He wants to have a moment with you where he is reminding you today that you are still not too broken to follow him. Because Jesus didn't cancel Peter, he restores him. And even from those 3 denials that Peter gave as Jesus is being arrested, after that miraculous overabundance of fish in the boat, Peter realizes it's Jesus. He comes to shore and begins speaking with Jesus. Jesus then asks Peter 3 different times, "Do you love me?" And each time, Peter says, "Yes, yes, Lord, I love you. You know I love you." And so what Jesus was doing by asking him that 3 times is he was reversing the shame of the 3 denials. And he was putting Peter's brokenness back together like that beautiful vase with the gold seams. Because Peter no longer had to be ashamed of his past. It became his testimony. And that is for all of us today, each and every one of us. It says in Romans chapter 8, verse 1, "So now there is no condemnation for those who belong to Christ Jesus. And because you belong to him, the power of the life-giving Spirit has freed you from the power of sin that leads to death." And so the resurrection proves failure isn't final. The resurrection doesn't just forgive our past, it restores our future. And your failure and shame do not have the final word in your life. The one who died for you has the final word.